I was still concerned about the Taco Bell meal that we still hadn't got at that point. So that just meant I had to go in there and rob a bank on an empty stomach.
Every year, over 3,000 banks are robbed in the U.S. by someone who sees a shortcut to make all their problems go away.
The only thing that I saw that was making my situation better was stealing. And I said, hey, we should rob a bank, homie.
But first, they'll need to plan the perfect heist.
Disguise, getaway car, legit car. I had settled on robbing my mom's bank.
Oh my God.
It wasn't so much of, is this wrong? It was, I'm not gonna get caught.
What has he done?
He was unknown and he was on the FBI's list.
That's it, we're done. We're going to prison.
The police, they had the wrong individual.
I was home free. And then it became a little more fun.
He didn't want to stop. He felt like he couldn't stop.
Fuck it, let's do it. Put the money on the counter, knowing Pex alarms, tracing devices. I want both drawers or 2 more guys outside with guns. Heard saying no joke. In all the world, I was the fattest, skinny person I knew of.
Yeah, I know money don't make a man happy, but it looked damn good in my jeans.
Carne asada was one of my favorite foods, you know? Carne asada tacos specifically. And that was also one of my favorite foods to steal. When I first started stealing, I was 8 years old. Just little knickknacks from the liquor stores, magazines, and whatnot. Playboys, I could sell those no problemo at elementary school. My mom had just gotten accepted into a federal government job, and she had gone away to train for several months. So I ended up staying at home with my mom's partner. He pretty much blew through everything. Blowing through my mom's money that she was accumulating while training. To even ask for food was rough. In '91, so. Do you mind if I smoke a cigarette real quick? So.
I was getting evicted. The rent hadn't been paid. The car payment hadn't been paid. There was no food in the house.
Once she came back from training and she had realized how far in the hole she had gone due to him,
I immediately got rid of him.
she began dating shortly there, after. And my mom got with Manuel, and he was still considered an immigrant at the time. So he was taking, whatever jobs he could, whatever jobs he was allowed. The money stayed tight, especially when Alexis came into the picture, which was in 1994. It wasn't that my family was bad. I would see them just working. 10 hours a day would be lucky. It was more like 16. And it was all just a struggle just to try and make ends meet, just to try and help them and their kids get through life. The best option I saw as far as if I wanted to eat, if I wanted to be clothed, was to steal it myself. And I would put some food in the fridge, like Tombstone pizzas, packs of bacon, that I would shoplift from the nearby grocery store.
My earliest memories of him was him being really nice, and he would always play with me. He was the model protective brother. He absolutely adored me.
I could have saw a commercial that just featured a happy family, happy home. You could see them stress-free, and that's what I wanted. That was the life I wanted for me and my family. moved to Otay when I was maybe 10, 11 years old. I met Crystal in the 9th grade. We had the same math class, and I had a laser pointer. So the first time I ever interacted with Crystal, I was shining the laser pointer at her vagina in the white shorts. I couldn't help but think of how attractive she was.
We hit it off right away. He was my best friend. We bonded so tight. It was always really smart. And so since there wasn't a lot of people like that around me, I could rely on that. And so he was the person I wanted to be around the most. Otay was a really tough neighborhood. A lot of crime, a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, a lot of gangs.
By the time I hit 9th grade, I had already had 2 friends that had gone away for attempted murder.
It was just kids that were running around, relying on other kids without guidance to try to figure out how to survive.
If you did not fit in and you were singled out, to call it bullying would not be sane enough at all. I was always the outsider. I didn't want to be the bully, and I didn't want to be the one getting bullied. I just wanted to get by. The only thing that I saw that was making my situation better was stealing. Stealing clothes, stealing items like CD players, DVDs, watches. It helped me in a big way fit in because I was no longer being picked on.
School, the teachers, the system.
I left school a year or 2 early. I met Manuel. I call him Crash because he's a horrible driver.
Richard stuck out like a sore thumb. He was 6'4" at 16 years old. I was anti-teachers. I was anti-administration. I was anti-rules. And Richard was exactly the same way of thinking as I was. He was always willing to break the rules without a second thought.
I had initially started stealing out of what I believed to be necessity, and then it became a little more fun.
When Richard was about 17, I got a transfer up to the LA area.
I didn't want to stay in Los Angeles. I figured as soon as I turn 18, I have to get myself back down to San Diego because that's where all my resources are. That's where my life is. That's where I know how to survive. My friend Crystal was definitely a factor in me wanting to come back down to San Diego because she was essentially my best friend. She wasn't judgmental. The money didn't matter to her. Gang affiliation didn't matter to her. It was just what type of person you were that mattered to her. So, first chance I had, I left.
Richard's friends in San Diego became like his family.
It was a very dumb decision. Everything I needed at that point to live a better life was with my mom and dad in Lakewood, but I just didn't see it that way at the time.
Yeah.
I was living with a friend I would help out with rent here and there.
Try to tell you you ain't ready.
We gravitated towards stealing bigger items. One of our friends had perfected stealing cars, so he would give us advice. I either had a dent puller or a master key. You just walk up with the master key, put it in the key slot, and just kind of jiggle it a little bit, sawing motions, and you'd start to see the locks flicker, and you'd pull the handle as the locks were flickering, and you'd be in. What we would do is, say 2 of us participated in a car theft. We'd kind of divide it. I want the amplifier, the stereo, the rims. I didn't know enough about cars to be stripping them down. Me personally, I'd walk away with about $500. I would more or less spend everything as it came in on the day-to-day, getting by. The money came quick and the money went quick. Once we got going on stealing cars, it was kind of a regular thing. If I remember right, we couldn't get 97 Mustangs and up. It had to be 96 and below, because once you yank the ignition out with the dent puller...
Well, you shouldn't say that on camera.
What?
Well, you're broadcasting to everybody in the world what makes them models to steal. Right?
It'll give them motivation to fix the problem. At the time, I had a lot of fun stealing cars and breaking into cars, but it definitely wasn't paying the bills, so to speak. I had no real plan. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I just knew I didn't like my situation. I wanted to change it, but I didn't know how. One of our daily routines was fast food. That day it was Taco Bell for the grande meal. It was just around $10. You have 10 items, you can mix it up as you please. Bean and cheese burritos, hard tacos, soft tacos. And we would get a 2-liter of soda to go with it, either Coke or Pepsi. Me and my friend started getting the money together, and we realized we only had about $6 between us. I was done with not being able to afford things. I knew that I needed to do something bigger. So I blurted out the first thing that came into mind, and I said, "Hey, we should rob a bank, homie." And he said, "Let's do it." It's very busy. I hadn't planned on that. So I'm thinking like, oh God, you know, this chick is into bank robbers. What are the odds of that? 2 more guys outside the guns heard this ain't no joke. Let's go, fool. Go. Growing up, I would watch the FBI files. It showed me how to commit bank robberies. Everything that I had learned from the FBI files just came back to me in that moment. It taught me that you didn't need a firearm to rob a bank, that you could do it with a note. I grabbed a piece of paper, and then in chicken scratch, I wrote, "Smile." Put the money on the counter. No ink packs, alarms, or tracing devices. There's 2 more guys outside with guns. Hurry up, this ain't no joke. It was a 3-person job. The guy that goes in, the getaway driver, and the legit driver.
Take me. He was like, no, he can't use you because you drive too crazy.
And I decided that he couldn't participate. We'll need 2 cars. That way, after we hit the bank, we would park the stolen getaway car. And then make our transition to the legit car. I had already known the perfect disguise, which was hat, glasses, and that seemed to do it for everyone else. You know, I couldn't tell you who the person was behind him, so that was the disguise that I had settled on. I already had both of those things. I figured it would be flawless. On the drive, I'm kind of losing it in my own head because I was realizing, like, I'm on my way to a bank robbery, you know, that I'm gonna do. We pulled into the shopping plaza where the bank was located. I was still concerned about the Taco Bell meal that we still hadn't got at that point. So that just meant I had to go in there and rob a bank on an empty stomach. Are you ready? Ready to do this? Let's do it. I hopped out of the car and I started making my way to the front entrance. And then I realized I forgot the freaking bag. Like, I had one job, and I forgot it at home. So I started looking around in the car, and there had been a crumpled up paper Carl's Jr. bag. So I grabbed that, shoved it into my pocket, and I started making my approach to the door. It's very busy. I hadn't planned on that. And I didn't know what to do, so I stood in line. And I waited. And I was looking very suspicious. Very much like a bank robbing gang member. I stood out like a sore thumb. I heard a woman's voice say, "Next." She was extremely attractive. She was the most attractive girl there at the store. I mean, I was focused on robbing the bank, but she was making me nervous with her looks. And she says, "Hello, how are you?" And I said, "Fine, and yourself?" I've always been raised to be polite. I slid the note on the counter towards her. She began to read. Put the money on the counter. No ink packs, alarms, or tracing devices. There's 2 more guys outside with guns. Hurry up, this ain't no joke. She started smiling at me. So I'm thinking like, oh God, this chick is into bank robbers. What are the odds of that? I had forgot that I wrote smile at the top of that note. So she asked me, she's like, "Do you have a bag or do you need one?" And I was thinking like, wow, this is kind of customer service I'm talking about right there. Friendly and helpful. I told her, "No, I have one here, thank you." She began to place the money on the counter, and I started feeling for the ink packs by bending the stacks of money. After all the money was in the bag, I thanked her. My heart's racing inside my chest, so I just bolt.
Let's go, let's go, let's go! Go! Go, go, go! Floyd!
Once we pulled up onto the residential street and we made the transition into the legit car, I reached into the bag and I pulled out, it seemed like nothing but 50s. I'm making it a point to rip off the bands because it has the bank stamps on them. One last look through for tracing devices and ink packs. We had about $8,000. We divvied it up 3 ways. I had never to that day obtained a payout like that. I was happier than a motherfucker. I just got this clump of cash and everything's gonna change. The first thing I decided to do with my spoils from the bank robbery was head to the mall. And there I just went on a shopping spree. I spent it on clothes, I spent it on food, I spent it on hotels, trying to impress girls, trying to just live a life that I had never seen before, a carefree life. To just be able to go out with your friends whenever you wanted and just like order, yeah, like hell yeah, I'm gonna have the hot wings. Like, what do you mean? Of course, give me 2 of them. But within about 10 days, we had already essentially blown through everything we had. I remember only having $20 left to put in my gas tank, and it was, in my opinion, time to rob another bank. There was no plan. I had settled on robbing my mom's bank.
That's it, we're done. We're going to prison.
Holy shit, I need to get the out of here like now. The bank itself was located in San Diego. There was no fear of getting arrested, even though it was obviously a possibility. We're kids. It was the same system we had used the first time. Disguise, getaway car, legit car. People that are willing to help. I had turned around to make my exit. Zoomed through the exit doors. He throws on his turn signal, drives right past the doors that I just ran out of. We see 3 cop cars fly by, going very fast, like obviously going to where we just left. I was just losing my shit, you know, my heart is racing inside my chest. I got away. I had a huge smile on my face. It was at that point where I realized it's a win-win for everybody. I get to go in, rob the bank, get money. The bank teller gets the rest of the day off and an interesting story to tell their family and friends for weeks to come. Whenever I'd go up and visit my family, I would take gifts and I'd buy toys for Alexis. But I tried to avoid letting it be known that I had too much extra spending money to go around.
I knew he was working. I knew he was making his car payments, doing what he was supposed to like a responsible young man. I never had reason to doubt him at all.
I used to love cruising. And Crystal was one of my favorite cruising partners.
Richard was like, you know, infatuated with her, but he had respect for her as a friend to not want to cross that line.
I got a boyfriend. They didn't like each other at all. So it did kind of hinder how often me and Richard would get to see each other, unfortunately.
Me and my friends, we'd go to Tijuana to celebrate every now and again. We would just drink, party in the club. It made me feel good. It made me feel like that's what life was supposed to be like. You know, just to be able to take a deep breath and enjoy it all. You know, with your friends, good food, good people, good music. That was pretty much all I wanted. At this point, an original member of our crew that was the getaway driver, he ended up getting sent away for a few years. And when that happened, we knew we needed someone else to help immediately. So I gave a friend a call.
He didn't want to stop. He felt like he couldn't stop. He approached me and said, "Congratulations, your time is here. You know, your time is now."
Crash was someone that I looked at like a brother. He was someone that I knew. I could count on him, not just to keep a secret, but with my life. I had settled on robbing my mom's bank. I had probably been in there about 50 times throughout my childhood, and I knew for a fact they had full drawers. The odds of them recognizing me could be pretty high. So for that particular bank, I knew I'd want to wear a hooded sweatshirt. With the surveillance cameras and whatnot, Maybe they'll have a front view with hat, glasses, and a hood, which then might make this look like a shadow, but there's no side profile. I had realized if I were to go in and say my lines over presenting them with a note, it would save a lot of time. I just wanted to go in there and do it the smoothest way possible so as no one gets hurt, no one gets terrified. I walked in and I passed the line of customers this time, heading straight for the counter. I recited my lines verbally in a polite manner, clearly so they could understand them.
Put the money on the counter, no impacts, alarms, tracing devices, and want both Georges, 2 more guys outside guns here, this ain't no joke.
Go to the next teller, put the money on the counter, no impacts, alarms, tracing devices, and want both Georges, 2 more guys outside guns here, this ain't no joke. Next teller, put the money on the counter, no impacts, alarms, tracing devices, and want both Georges, 2 more guys outside guns here, this ain't no joke.
12 seconds. Everything went fine. We start heading out. There had been someone in the bank at the beginning. He had been off to the side just talking to a teller, and he left. Think nothing of it. We run to the car, and I look, and the guy from the bank had gone into a green pickup truck he had parked over there, and he had backed out and attempted to block us in. He was creeping up on us into our parking spot.
I just get a splash of panic, like a bucket of water just thrown on me.
If he blocks us in, we're stuck, we're through, we are done.
Now I'm just thinking, this is it. The police are gonna show up and we're going to prison.
So we floored it. We had the green pickup right behind us, and I was flying to this driveway here. Blow through this light, and this is where a freaking cement truck almost clipped us.
I was just pure adrenaline.
Get straight on the freeway, and then just head down in a hurry. We're just going one exit up. When we're about this point, I couldn't see the green pickup anymore, so it looked like we're in the clear. So we stopped right here, where the legit car was supposed to be waiting.
And it was nowhere to be found.
He was unknown, and he was on the FBI's list of individuals.
Justin Moreno must have been the most unlucky person I'd ever heard of. When I pulled into the cul-de-sac, we realized the legit car wasn't present. I knew we needed to go. Anything was better than staying in that car. At that point, both of us took off running. So we ended up in the field, and I'm calling the legit car and asking them, hey, where are you? He had said he needed to move. We told him to go to the residential streets that were on the other side of the field. And that's where he picked us up on a side street. It wasn't the smoothest of robberies, but we ended up getting away, but it was lucky that we did. I figured out my niche, you know, I found it, and it wasn't working, it was robbing banks.
You know, I strongly believe that what I was doing at the time wasn't hurting anybody. So it wasn't so much of, is this wrong? It was, I'm not gonna get caught.
I'm sitting at my friend's house and I get a call from another friend. And he had this newspaper and it was in the crime section. I wasn't a big fan of being called the skinny bandit at all. Because I was self-conscious about my weight. I was a teenager. I just wish that they'd give me a different name.
The Skinny Bandit was big news in San Diego. By the summer of 2002, there was anywhere from 8 to 12 bank robberies. He was unknown, and he was on the FBI's list of individuals. And the skinny bandit was very tall, 6'2", 6'3", anywhere from 130 pounds to 150 pounds with a very skinny jawline. His MO was he would use a stolen car. That would be the getaway car. He'd arrive in the getaway car, he'd go into the bank. He was always dressed the same, usually a baseball cap, sunglasses, and gloves. Initially, he started with a demand note. And then, I think as he got a little more comfortable, he would just go in and he would just announce, "This is a robbery, give me all your money." He did it very efficiently, very quickly, but it was the same in every case. The news was asking for help. An individual had called Crime Stoppers and had told the police they knew the skinny bandit. So with that information, they started to do some research on him. He was known to other people to have been involved in thefts and stealing cars, and had driven a car that was potentially the same car as one of the getaway cars for the skinny bandit. He was arrested in July 2002. His name was Justin Moreno.
I heard sirens, I seen police cars. They went to my house. The police found hats, sunglasses, clothing, and everything that they said tied me into the description of the bank robber. They had me at gunpoint. They had rifles, and they were like, "Hands in your head!" It was terrifying for me. I found out that I was being charged as the skinny bandit. I was blindsided by it.
Once I had received word that they caught the wrong guy, I knew I was home free. He looked like my doppelganger, like my stunt double, essentially. They took his photo and put it in all the lineups for some of the banks that I had previously hit. And those tellers, because he fit my description so closely, identified him as possibly being the robber.
Then they took me to South Bay Jail. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Hit him with the flow, pull it out, hit him with the fofo. Mark ready, set, let's go, but I'm elevated, moving in slow mo.
Justin Moreno must have been the most unlucky person I'd ever heard of until that time. He had everything stacked against him, and I was home free. As far as I was aware, they had no idea who I was. My hat and sunglasses was doing the trick. When I saw that image on the television screen, I'm like, oh shit.
That's how Richard Stanley became a person of interest. Justin Moreno was in custody, and the skinny bandit struck again. And at that point in time, the police realized that they had the wrong individual.
God was looking out, and thank God it was on camera.
Poor bastard, they finally let him go.
Everybody love dough, everybody love paper.
My life was just getting better. I had the clothes, I had the food, I had the gas, I had girls noticing. I was stacking up on money. It gave me that rush. $8,000.
$3,000.
22 grand. I went out, I got rims for my car, I got a TV, that went in the dash, little 7-inch screen. And I had subwoofers, I had the amplifier, I think I had a neon light inside of the car, and it looked cool. At that time, the complex I had about me was that I was sick shit. We had just robbed the California Bank and Trust. We got this room to kind of celebrate, and we were hanging out, having a little kickback.
We all congregated in the hotel, and it was the usual food, girls, drinks.
And we're watching TV, and a full screen image of me just envelops the entire television screen. Responsible for 13 bank robberies. It was a little low in my opinion on the numbers. The FBI seeks public assistance. I'm wearing a hat, glasses, button-up plaid shirt, and I'm just staring right at the camera. Girl I was with that night looks at the screen, looks back at me, back at the screen again, back at me, and she was like, "You're the skinny bandit." I realized, oh damn, maybe hat and glasses wasn't the best idea. After that, everybody left, Crash left, the other girls left, and one stayed behind with me. We called it a night. It was about 3:30 in the morning. I get a call. This girl had a friend whom I was familiar with, and she was a big meth user. Loved meth. So 3:30 a.m. calls weren't that uncommon, seeing as how she was such a big fan of methamphetamines. She just started firing off these questions. You know, where are you? Who are you with? What room are you in? Is there anybody else there? I said, no. And then she just hung up, said, okay, bye. And I didn't think anything of it, just wow, what a tweaker.
Someone tipped off the police that the skinny bandit was at the La Quinta Hotel.
It's early in the morning, I'm still sleeping, and I hear a thumping at the door. And I just had my heart sink in my chest. I had this deep, just oh shit feeling like it's over. Boom, 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 FBI. They kept trying to push their way in, and I told them, hey, hold on, let me get the latch off real quick. And I see 5 or 6 handguns immediately pointed at my face.
We've been telling you about this guy for months, and tonight the FBI has arrested a man suspected of being the skinny bandit.
This girl, they had presented her with still images from the bank surveillance and asked her, hey, do you want to initial next to everyone that you think looks like Richard? So she initialed next to a bunch of them. But there was no evidence on hand that I knew they could get. I had nothing in the room, nothing in the car, nothing in my wallet. I should be fine.
And that's when the case got broken open with the evidence that they found. The evidence started with the arrest of Mr. Stanley. In his car, the police found a receipt to a storage unit called Save On. When they went to Save On, they learned that Richard Stanley had often visited it. And individuals from the storage said they did recognize Richard Stanley as someone we suspected was one of the getaway drivers, and Manuel Basabi. Inside was $12,000 and Within that $12,000 was some money that was marked money that was linked back to one of the banks that was robbed.
I didn't know if I was screwed. I didn't know if I'd be okay somehow, some way, through some miracle, but I knew if it was left up to the system, I was done.
Richard called me and told me that he had been arrested for robbing a bank. It was like somebody had reached inside my chest, pulled out my heart, or told me someone close to me had died. It was just an empty feeling in the pit of your soul. It was just an, oh my God, you know, what has he done?
My attorney informed me that he had reached a potential deal if I were to agree for 6, 7, or 8 years. My co-defendants would have all robbery charges dropped against him, and one would be offered 16 months with half, and the other would be offered 2 years with half.
He pled guilty to everything he did, every single robbery.
Good morning, Your Honor.
In the end, it was 2 years prison time.
Yes, Your Honor.
At the end of the day, it was 19 counts of robbery.
Good morning, Doctor.
Time to submit the same?
1 day.
I served just over 7 years at R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, 7 months of which was spent in solitary, and it did absolutely nothing to change who I was, to make me a better person, nothing at all.
I got out in October of 2009. I ended up, moving in with my mom. I was 26 years old at that point, sleeping on my mom's couch. I wanted more. I tried applying everywhere I could for a job to do it right. I wouldn't even get a call back. And it was because you needed to list all convictions. Mine wouldn't even fit, or it looked bad, robbery times 19. Like, oh yeah, here, you're gonna work the register.
I don't know if I'm alive or I'm just a ghost.
I told myself, like, well, maybe I could just do one more bank. Just one more. It was at that point that I ended up reconnecting with a friend. He basically told me, he's like, hey, I do adult marketing for exotic dancers and escorts. I saw the figures he was writing down. I knew, okay, there's money in this. He teamed up with me, became a partner. We ended up creating a very successful adult marketing service that we had people dying to work with us.
He has done so well. I'm so proud of him. He's far exceeded my expectations.
Money's still very much important to me, as it was when I was 18 or 19, but I just value it more now because I'm trying to do it right.
Yeah. He liked a particular girl at the parties, and she ended up snitching on us within 30 minutes of being in custody.
Not like, well, yeah, for the most part, but she didn't spill all.
She pretty much spilled every bean in the cup.
She left like 2 in the cup.
Richard didn't have the best judgment in women back then.
I mean, I did what I could. I tried,
You
I was very trusting. Okay, I'm a lover.
Tried.